Have you ever met the connector? Well, he ponders, he helps, he creates, he writes, he speaks. He basically connects people and brings them together. I speak about Paul Solano of PS and All Marketing Group. At psandallmarketinggroup.com, you will receive an assembled group of Paul's contacts and connections that cross into many sectors of life. Please contact Paul Solano at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com if you are in the market for a wide array of services. Again, please contact the connector, Paul Solano, at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com with any questions. And now, here's Paul Solano, the host of Paul Ponders.
Welcome to Hashtag Paul Ponders. I've really enjoyed bringing you fun, informed, intriguing, and pondering podcasts. Many thanks to Hashtag Pod Pro Entertainment. Today's collaborating sponsor, Scott Albertson of Hashtag Project142.org, Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS number 410564, and Remax Renaissance Realty of Reading. Thanks for listening, rating, reviewing, and subscribing. Let Hashtag Paul Ponders begin. I want to welcome everyone to Hashtag Paul Ponders. We'll get right into the podcast, and it is an absolute honor for me to have, I would say, a 30-time Hall of Famer inductee in many organizations, many walks of athletics on as our guest. But we welcome Coach Frank Porky Vieira as our guest today. And just to really touch upon a card that I saw at that I received at a recent dedication at the University of New Haven, the New Haven Chargers. This is just an outstanding guest we have on. So I want to read this real quick because Coach Porky Vieira has so much to talk about. But I just wanted to touch upon his playing career, first of all. Coach V played baseball and basketball in high school and college. He attended Quinnipiac University, where he is the all-time leading scorer in the history of Bobcats basketball. He was drafted by the New York Giants in 1952 after high school, and again after college by the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1957. He played in the New York Penn League from 1957 to 1961. But of course, Coach V, had just had an illustrious career. 44 seasons coaching from 1963 to 2006. His all-time record is 1,127 wins, 324 losses, and 6 ties. That is a winning percentage of .776. Now look at the regional appearances. 31, 26 in the NCAA, 5 in the NAIA. World Series berths, 17, 15 NCAAs and 2 NAIAs. Postseason wins, 81. Consecutive winning seasons, 42 from 1963 to 2004. Winning seasons overall, 43. All-American awards, 35. All-Region awards, 72. The players signed professionally, 75 plus. The players make an NBA roster, 10. Most notable player, 1987 Cy Young Award winner Steve Bedrosian for the Philadelphia Phillies. Coach Vieira, welcome to Hashtag Paul Ponders. Great to have you on.
It's good to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach. But I just wanted to, again, thank you for taking the time to be with us for this podcast. And I've met you in person 3 times in my life, and I've always enjoyed meeting you. And the person who made that possible is our dear friend, Coach, not Coach, well, he is a coach too, but Dave Caiazzo, one of your former standouts.
Dave Caiazzo is like my second son. He's something that through all these years, I don't think I had anyone say closer to me than Dave Caiazzo. And as far as Dave Caiazzo, as far as a pitcher, he was in the category of the Berjosian. But I often said this: if I had one game to win, it would be Caiazzo to be on the mound. So that's what I think of Dave Caiazzo.
He is an absolutely wonderful person, and he's a two-time Paul Ponders guest, and he has so much to talk about with his career, both for Malden High School and college when he played for you at the University of New Haven, and all. But what attracted you to really scout him and to get him to attend University of New Haven? What were you looking for in a player?
I tell you, the day I went to watch him, he wasn't that good, but I kind of liked the way, he handled the whole situation. He kept plugging right in there. And there was just something about his makeup. I think as a coach, you see a certain thing in each individual. And he took the rough time without any excuses or things of that nature. So that's what impressed me. And sure enough, when he came into school, he lived up to way, way more than I expected. But that's it.
Wow. And during the course of 44 years and all, you saw so many great players. Are there any other players who really just stood out in your mind?
Well, I think you have to go with Bedrosian. He was something throwing in the high 90s. You look at him and you say, well, this guy can't miss, because back then, anybody throwing that hard, that I knew he's going to be with me for one season. Plus, he got $35,000 to sign back then, which was pretty good.
Wow, that was a lot of money back then and all. Now, you strung together 43 consecutive winning seasons. That is absolutely remarkable.
I should have had another one, but I made a mistake. And I listened to Debbie Chin, and I hired two assistants. That was probably my worst mistake in my career, but I'm not going to get into that, Paul.
Exactly. But it's really something. When I went to your recent the dedication they had, we'll give a plug for the Coach Frank Vieira Scholarship, which is set up for New Haven athletics, and operators are standing by. MasterCard and Visa accepted. Anyone who wants to donate, just check out the website for University of New Haven College. I was just totally blown away by the number of players, past players, who came back to honor you. And so many of those players, and I know Dave Caiazzo is one of them, said that if it wasn't for Coach, I would not be the person who I am today. So what was your philosophy in being a coach and being a mentor?
I think I was a disciplinarian. I ran the kids hard. I worked the kids hard. But the bottom line is, I thought it was fair. I had certain dress codes, no ponytails, no beards. They had to wear the uniforms the right way. But I think in this day and age, I probably couldn't get away with it. But my thing was just to motivate them to get to the next level. That's why I think the best thing is that we took a lot of kids and we turned, into pros. So, 72 kids went on, and we did have 10 of the program at the major leagues. In fact, I had one, believe it or not, our pitching coach, that was one of my pitching coaches, is now the head pitching coach for the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, wow.
Number 11.
That's incredible. But I'm totally blown away. And at the event, the dedication, there were players from representing, I would say, all 5 decades of when you coach, and the generational aspect, it just blows me away as to how you would have to adjust and adapt to the mindset of those players.
because I was so tough on myself, I always had this. As much as I ever worked them, I worked myself even harder. So that was one of my big philosophies, as far as coaching. I never asked them to do anything that I didn't do as a player.
So true. So true. That is important in so many walks of life, and that really is something that you really have to advocate. You have to walk the walk and talk the talk, I guess.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
Absolutely.
My thing is, it was all natural. When I hear all these war stories, I'm saying, who are you talking about? They said, we're talking about you. I didn't realize half of the things I did to motivate these kids, but we had over 200 something kids come back from the 1960s up to the last year I coached. So that told me something.
That is really quite an impact. I remember the movie Mr. Holland's Opus, and we're going to have to put a movie out there and substitute Coach V's Opus. Now, besides coaching baseball, you were a pretty decent basketball player, I hear.
I could shoot the basket, I think back in the 60s, better than anybody in the country. I'm not bragging, but I felt that way. And in fact, I had an offer to sign with the Minneapolis Lakers, but 1 year deal. They want to make me the smallest guy ever to play in the NBA. But my coach said, look, he never told me about the contract. He wanted me to finish my graduate work. So anyway, that was an offer that I probably would have jumped at it. But in the long run, I'm glad I didn't take it. Anyway.
Right, exactly. Now, you played in Connecticut, right?
In fact, at one time, I had my own traveling basketball.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I used to go all around the state, years All-Stars. And I played against the Harlem Magicians. I played against the Knicks. I played against Cincinnati Royals. It was, in fact, I played against the Knicks. It was just, and I never batted an eyelash. Everybody made a big deal out of me outscoring Chamberlain. I thought nothing of it, but anyway, that's how much I had as a player.
Exactly. I remember you telling the story, and I believe you outscored Wilt Chamberlain 38-33.
Right. But anyway, I didn't realize that, the first guy to ever outscore Chamberlain, and they made it a big deal. And to me, Paul, I said, I don't know what the big deal is, But anyway, that's why I felt as a basketball. And incidentally, Paul, not to brag, I think 2 years ago I was put into the Small College Basketball Hall of Fame, which really, made me feel good.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. Now, how many Halls of Fame are you in?
17.
17. Wow, that is incredible. And I will say, just letting our podcasters know that you don't have to visit the Springfield Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame, or Cooperstown. You could just go to Coach V's house in Connecticut, and you could see the most incredible shrine and Hall of Fame of so many awards. And I was blown away with your tribute hall.
Over 700.
700 pitches?
700 pieces with you, different pins and, plaques and trophies like that. What you witnessed. From the hall to the main room.
That's incredible.
The 700, which, I go back to when I was 10 years old. I saved every medal and everything since I was a little kid. Plus, I had Lori and another friend, Listo, put up all the plaques for me and so forth. But I love the room.
So if you were to compare yourself to modern day coaches of yesteryear, who would you say you took after as a coach? Did you study any special coach?
I think my own coach, Tufi Maroon, he was tough, and that's all my coaches. The high school coach, Ed Riley, my boys club, people there were always all very tough on you. You know, I mean, it was like a second home to go to the Middle Street Boys Club, and then, high school was the same way. So my whole career as a kid and growing up, I was always, it was number one discipline by people that, I was under. So plus the fact my father was a great, person as far as discipline, as far as, being a man of his word and so forth. So I was lucky in that sense.
That's tremendous. Really, it's great to have a role model like your dad. Yeah, it's really, really great to have that role model. Now, when you look at the coaches of today, signing all these contracts and doing all these things, what do you think of today's breed of coaches?
I think it's horrible because of the fact that they're buying players, and the whole college scene is a total joke because, these guys that are coming into UConn are making tons of money. The backcourt, a few years ago, or coming back, was making like $350,000 a year. So, I mean, in this day and age, you're buying players. It's not like a kid goes to school for 4 years. It's become a total joke. Basketball and football, terrible. Now, even baseball.
Is that right? Even baseball too, huh?
Right. Well, I'll give you an example. The fellow I was talking about, Peter Mackey, kid that was my pitching coach. He replaced the Minnesota pitching coach who took an offer to a college to get paid more. And he was making $450,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah. He quit the majors to go to a college job. Well, that tells you something.
I guess that's the power of endowed chairs and all. I worked in the fundraising and the endowed chair level, and it's something that it really is something how that high price of endowments is really impacting the quality and the number of coaches who are going into the college ranks.
Right on that. Here's a guy making $5 million.
Wow.
I know.
Unbelievable. It really is something. So let's circle back to Dave Caiazzo and when he played. I believe that you were in the World Series once or twice with him.
We were coming down one night. It was a major game. The game to take us to the World Series. We're coming down in the elevator. I says, David, I need this one today. His coach, don't worry about it. Sure enough, we went out there and pitched maybe a 2-hitter. He took us to the World Series. And then I think we won a game in the World Series. But, that's why I say, if I needed one game to win, it would be David.
That's tremendous. I remember hearing that story in his book, how life threw me a curveball, how he overcame diabetes. And I remember, and you're mentioned quite a bit in his book.
I put a gun to his head and said, you better write about me. Anyway, he was good. We always had to have orange juice waiting for him, Sometimes, he didn't eat the right foods. And he was we had to keep an eye on him with the diabetes. I worked the hell out of him anyway.
I love it. Well, Coach, you've had such a great career, and I always look for those Paul Ponder moments where we could give advice. So if for our listeners out there, people who have subscribed to Paul Ponders, what are the top 3 tips you would give someone who is looking to get into the world of coaching?
Number one, it's got to be a tough sell right now because, to be honest with you, Paul, all I hear about are the parents. The parents, in this day and age, are in the crowds are second guessing the coaches and famous referees being attacked at gym. So I tell you, the whole thing has changed. Very few guys are going into coaching or going into refereeing because of the crowd element, and mainly because of the parents. I had a rule. I'll tell you this. I had a rule. And a rule that any parent that calls me on how much playing time you're getting, the second I not the scholarship, I'm playing time. The second I put down the phone, your locker's being cleared out. I never got a call in 44 years. How's that?
Perfect.
I don't think you get away with that now.
I don't think so. No, not at all. Not at all. And what else would you advise up-and-coming coaches to do?
Try to be yourself. I tell guys, a lot of people, not to brag, they try to duplicate me. And I'm saying, look, there's only one cuckoo bird like me, Be yourself. And kids can spot that. You're trying to be someone else. They'll know like this. Be yourself, and it'll accept you. But try to be a phone, no way. Kids will read right through you.
Wow, that's so true as well. And what would your third piece of advice be for up-and-coming coaches?
Never think you know it all. I went to Jack School at St. John's all through the winter months just to learn more about each position, so forth and so forth. You have to always be open-minded as far as, how much knowledge you can get. And that's what amazes me when I watch these major leaguers as far as trying to bunt their bunt properly. They don't know how to bunt because they haven't been bunting all season long. Just little things that in runs they don't look, just little small things. I'm shocked. I'm saying, my God, these are major league guys not playing the game the right way. That's what I'm saying. Getting up. I was an outfielder. So I brought in someone that knew out of the infield, and Joe Tonelli, and Johnny Ancolari. So, you don't have to know it all. Let them do their thing.
That's so true. Now, one other thing, too, which I did not read, but this is something that must be stated. You went 44 seasons and you were never ejected from a game.
I believe in leave the umpires alone. You have all you can do to try to hit the ball. So I wouldn't allow it. And, that's the way it is. Plus the fact, I never had a kid thrown out of me.
Wow. That is amazing. Now, I had a nice chat with a gentleman, I believe his name was Nelson. He was an umpire. He umpired many of your games.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice man. Very nice man.
Elmer Duchesne.
Oh, Elmer wasn't Nelson, right? Okay, Elmer. Yes.
Great. Incidentally, I had a real interesting visit 2 weeks ago at the Gold Key with a guy named Terry Tata, who was a major league umpire for 27 years. And he had stories like you couldn't believe, Guys like Bobby Valentine and Paul O'Neill. Very, very interesting.
Wow. And you're friends with Bobby Valentine, I believe?
Oh, yeah. We go back many, many years. He's, I think he's probably the biggest name ever to come out of Connecticut. Because here's a guy who was an all-state football player for 3 years, great baseball player, and a manager of, the Mets, the Texas Mets, and then even the last in Boston. But anyway, he's a really, he came to speak at one of my affairs. But the main thing is when he's like just in the minor leagues, he would come every spring training and work with my infielders. So we go way, way back. I call him a friend.
That's great. That is awesome. And also, too, at that dedication at University of New Haven, George Grand from ESPN was there.
He's going to be honored next week at the Gold Key, which is one of the highest honors in Connecticut. But I tell you, Paul, he's a guy that's generous, goes out of his way for people, and very humble, beautiful, beautiful individual.
That is absolutely wonderful. And I had the pleasure of chatting with him for a few minutes, and what a delightful, true gentleman. Well, Coach, as we wind down the Paul Ponders podcast, all those characteristics, all those qualities, all those great things that you said, you live, you breathe, you walk it, you talk it, and you are just an absolutely incredible gentleman and such a true person. And I really am blessed to really have you as a friend and have you on as a guest. And I want to thank you and Laurie again for opening your home to us after the dedication and all. And looking forward to chatting with you some more.
You're always welcome here. Next time you come, I'll have Lori make his pasta.
Okay, I'll fit that into my calorie count. All right, Laurie.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome. So we're going to wind down, and Coach, again, I thank you and congratulations on your super career, and just congratulations on being you.
Thank you.
So we'll wind down, and then we'll catch you. We'll let the podcast wind down. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another episode of Paul Ponders. Indeed. I trust that you have enjoyed Paul Ponders. Again, my name is Paul Solano of PS&All Marketing Group, and I may be reached via email at paul@paulponders.com to do some more pondering. Many thanks to my longtime collaborative friend and associate, Caiazzo Amos of Pod Pro Entertainment, in bringing you our fun, exciting, and informative podcasts. You rock, Techie Caiazzo. With PS&All Marketing Group, I created a side gig to connect you and get things done. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com with any questions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Paul Ponders. Follow us on Twitter at Paul Ponders Pod. Follow us on Instagram at Paul Ponders Podcast. Thank you again for listening to Paul Ponders, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website, paulponders.com, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment, Paul Ponders lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. The new radio. Until we meet again, my friend, stay well. Indeed.